This is Patrick Ball. Today we're going to learn one of the fundamental chords on guitar. It's the D chord. There's a lot of songs that use the D chord. And I think what you'll find is once you master this chord and learn to make the transitions between the G chord and the D chord, you'll start to be able to play a few songs. And I'll give you a demo of that as we work into this session. Thanks for joining me today. How do we start with the D chord? Remember these 4 fingers? Well, for this chord, we're going to use 1, 2, and 3, the first 3 fingers. Here's how to start. Take your 3rd finger and place it on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. That note is a D. Then take your 1st finger, place it on the 3rd string of the 2nd fret. That note is an A. Then take your 2nd finger, and this is a little more difficult to do, slide it up underneath to the very 1st string, 2nd fret. That note now becomes an F. So to play the entire chord, you start at the 5th string and work your way down. 5 is the A, 4 is the D, 3 is an A, 2 is a D, 1 is an F. That's the D chord. Notice I missed a string. So as you're practicing these chords, remember, it's best to use a metronome so you have that beat in the background. And it's also a good idea just to strum the chord until you get the feeling of where to start and where to end. In the beginning, you'll find yourself hitting the 6th string and playing an open E note. That's not the D chord. That gives you something else that you don't want. As we did with the G chord, to practice, we need to do a few things. We need to start by placing our fingers individually and strumming. Take your hand away, place your fingers individually and strumming. Notice I didn't get a clean sound. I didn't press hard enough. Take your fingers away, place them. One of the most challenging aspects of playing guitar is transition. What I would like to demonstrate is using the metronome and going from a D chord to the G chord and making that transition with the beat. I've got the metronome set to 80 beats per minute. Let's give it a try. There. What was the challenge with that? The challenge is making the transition from the D to the G in time. What's happening is you're trying to remember the fingering, you're trying to strum the correct strings, you're trying to play with the metronome, and you're doing all this together and you're thinking about it. So every time your mind changes focus, you lose something else. This is why it requires a lot of practice and patience to learn to play the guitar. What I tend to do in the mornings when I warm up before I play is I start out with just warm-up exercises. Just run my fingers up and down the neck and then do it backwards. get the idea. Then, once my fingers have warmed up, they're limber, then I go to the chords. Start with the D. D's a lot easier to play than the G. Then go to the G. Then go back to the D. Then go back to the G. Then go back. Now, you'll notice that as I'm thinking about this again, I have a tendency to get nervous. And when I get nervous, my hand gets tight. And when my hand gets tight, I'm not relaxed and I'm not able to get the clean sound that I like. That's why you have to remember one of the things we talked about in an earlier session. Practice slow to learn to play fast. That's so critical. I wanted so much to be able to play a song right off the bat. I couldn't do it because I couldn't make the transitions. Practice slow to learn to play fast. It's so critical at this early stage of development when you're building your foundation. That's the kind of practice you need to work on with patience, persistence, and maybe a little perspiration in there. And now, here's today's thought for the day from Robert Henry. The pursuit of happiness is the greatest feat man has to accomplish. That's it for this issue of Guitar Gems. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.